Hey everyone, it's Brandon with Everything Board Games, and in this 2 to 4 player, 30 to 45 minute game, you are working for Sasquatch. His name's Harry, and you're working in a diner as one of the lead servers. So you are not the only lead server here, but you do have a lot of monsters to feed, and they're very hungry. So in this game, you are competing against the other servers to complete orders. You're also going to sneakishly tip the cooks to get more food in front of the other servers. All the while trying not to waste food because that's going to cost you points in the end. After each monster has been served, you'll collect tips, which are delicious looking chocolate chip cookies. And the lead server at the end of the game with the most tips wins. So published by Squatchy Games, I'm reviewing Harry's Place. Alright. So let's take a look at some of the artwork here and the components that you get within the box. Now, keep in mind my copy that I received, it's not a final production copy, so what you receive may look a little different, but for the most part should be pretty accurate. So you have the Fizzy Dew tokens, the cookies, the ice cream shake tokens, the hot frog tokens, Freaky Fries token, and the Monster Burger tokens, as well as the server location boards, the player mats, the Monster cards, Sasquatch server meeples, which, again, I don't have the final copy, so I got just standard meeples in mine. You got the manager cards, and, excuse me server, that looks delicious. I'll have what they're having card. Game setup. Each player will lay one of the player boards down in front of them, as you can see here. Each player will have a manager card and, excuse me server, that looks delicious. I'll have what they're having card. They're going to choose what color they would like to represent them, red, green, yellow, blue, and take the corresponding deck to that. Then in reach of all players, you're going to have your serving stations 1 through 5. It doesn't matter what particular order they go in. And then you're going to have the corresponding food tokens placed above those stations. Gameplay. The gameplay is broke down into 4 phases. First, I'm going to explain the manager card and the excuse me server, that looks delicious. I'll have what they're having card. Alright, so the manager card, this you can only play once per game. And what this will allow you to do is it will allow you to swap 2 monsters around on the satisfaction levels to avoid one from potentially walking out. The excuse me server, that looks delicious, I'll have what they're having card, can only be played at the beginning of phase 3. So we'll get to that in just a moment here. So phase 1, players will draw 2 cards from the top of their deck after they shuffled it, and they're going to place them in the green spots. Now this is actually a good time to explain what you're looking at on the cards here. So first off, on the player board, green is most satisfaction, yellow is moderate, orange is worse, and red is worser. Now at the top of your monster cards, you have the amount of tips you're going to get if you complete that monster's order when they are at that satisfaction level. So currently, this one here, if you complete him when he's in the green, you're going to get 7 chocolate chip cookies. If you were to go to yellow, you'll get 6, 5, 4, and then obviously if they walk out, you're not getting anything for it. So here, we have our 2 in the green spots. And then what we're going to do now is we are going to place our servers. The person who went out to eat most recent is the first player. So what you're going to do is you're going to decide what food you would like to collect by placing your server. And then second player is going to choose what they want. So after all servers have been placed, you're going to resolve from left to right, most to least, the food tokens for that person. So in this case, the red person, they are collecting 3. They're going to take 3 and just set it on their serving platter. And then go ahead and recall your token at that point. And then so player 2, they would take 2. So phase 3, like I said earlier, at this phase in the beginning is the only time you can play the "excuse me server, that looks delicious, I'll have what they're having" card. And when you do this, like I said, this will allow you to copy another player's order, and you'll receive full points for your monster. So, for example, we are playing this card. It's going to require 2 Monster Burger tokens as well as 2 Fizzy Dews. But yet we're still going to get the 7 points for completing it. So I would say, we already have those in hand, but we don't have anything else. So we can play that card, copy this, end up serving him because it's a copy, and we only paid the 2 hamburgers and the 2 fizzy drinks. Then we would receive 7 chocolate chip cookies, which will look like this. After all Monsters have been served, then you're going to move into phase 4. This is the cleanup phase. Now, at this point, this is where everyone's going to shift one if they have not been served, one to the right on the track. Now let's say, for example, if you have a monster down here in the red zone, they haven't been served yet, new round takes place, they leave the board, they just became a walkout. Now, the only downfall about that is it's point deduction at the end of the game when you go to add up your points. Instead of this card here becoming a walkout and you losing those points, let's say you play the manager card. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can only play it once per game, but you can play it anytime in the game. So we'll just set that to the side. That's going to allow you to swap 2 Monsters on the satisfaction level. So now you have the chance of getting 7 cookies or 7 tips versus losing those and only getting 4. And that is just a quick gameplay of Harry's Place. Here's some final thoughts. In the end, we really enjoyed playing Harry's Place. It's very easy to catch on to and it's a lot of fun. We did notice with the 2-player variation that it did seem a little bit easy. We're told that they are still working that out, so hopefully in the final copy it'll become a little bit more difficult for 2 people, which is a good thing, because the game still involves a decent amount of strategy that does require some planning ahead. Even though it's a 30 to 45 minute game, it feels a lot shorter than that. It's a lot of fun. With that said, it's a great game for young and old, whether you stick to family time at home or you take it to game nights, especially if they're new to board games. So check out squatchygames.com for the launch date of their Kickstarter, and thank you for watching.